Well, hello there. I was just thinking to myself the other day, I haven't done a knife review in a long time, so I'm going to do one. Now, I have done several today alone, but I will do another one. I've gone through all the knives that I've had in my collection that I haven't reviewed, so now my collection is fairly limited right now, so this is just about it. At least everything I've not done a review on. So, without further ado, let's get right into it. Anybody guess what I have on the table? Anybody? Gotcha. Cool. This is a Yojimbo 2. Yes, it's a Yojimbo 2. I don't know. I have kind of mixed feelings about this knife. So, let's start with what I like. I like G10. Yes, G10 is good. Fairly aggressive, kind of a medium texture. Okay. Fairly thick blade stock, actually very thick. It actually starts out very, very, very thick, which I do like. I like girth. I like the feeling it's going to be strong and useful. Shiny pocket clip. I think it goes well with the overall look of the knife. It's reversible, either direction on either side. Good job, Spyderco. If I didn't mention, this is a Spyderco. It's got the compression lock. Okay, compression lock I've gone over before. A very, very good lock. I've gotten out of so much as something being my favorite and what I prefer as to more of kind of a different strokes kind of mentality. Compression lock squeezes a liner between the blade and the blade stop, and it's hard to explain. Your liner sandwiches the stop pin and the blade, which also puts force around, if you can think of it that way, on the blade and the blade stop. So the blade is contacting the blade stop here. The compression lock is also contacting the blade stop, and the compression lock is contacting the blade. So you've got you got 3 solid points of contact all in this little area right here. Very, very strong. Very, very strong. In fact, it's one of the strongest locks out there for the only reason that it won't fail. I mean, it pretty much won't fail before you crush this liner. And that's how it's pretty much designed. If you also notice, it's hard to see, but the blade is cut at the tang of the blade. It's not really I guess it really isn't the tang. I guess you could call it the tang. It's cut in an angle. Okay, so that means the lock will will actually wear over time, and that's part of how it stays sandwiched in there. When you pull on it, you feel a little bit of a not. I don't want to call it a stick because it's not like a titanium lockwood stick, but it definitely squeezes itself in there. The Yojimbo 2 has a very unique design. Let's put it that way. And the handle and the blade both are unique. Okay. First off, being a compression lock, it opens like nobody's business. I can just flick it open like that. I can do all the cool little fancy tricks. I can flip it over and flick it with my little thumb, and then it doesn't open. And, you get the point. Either way, very, very quick, very smooth action. No problems opening. Now, I did pinch myself with the liner the first time I opened it because I was holding it just like that. Now, the paramilitary 2, which also uses a compression lock, I don't have that problem with. I've never pinched my hand with one, and I've had 4 or 5 over the course of time. I've never pinched my hand while opening one. This, I did. It got me, to be honest with you. So I never had a problem with that. That's a little weird, but this is a Warncliffe blade. Most of you know that. And open, it's even weirder. The handle shape is very strange. Now, the original Yojimbo was actually a little bit stranger because it was more straight. This one actually adds some grooves here. Now, I do like the ergonomics. I think holding it in this fashion, it feels pretty good. I do feel these bumps in here, though. But I feel it, and it's more of a grippy feel than it is like a hot spot feel. This little cutout here, I don't feel like that's useful at all. My finger I'm not even contacting this at all. None at all. I mean, I'm pretty much completely loose on that. And then this area here pretty much just serves to keep me from sliding up. Sliding down is pretty much controlled by these 2 fingers. So this first finger here, you've pretty much got 2 fingers in this area here. So this finger prevents you from going down, and this one prevents you from going up. You've got a little bit of jimping on this right here. I wish they would have also done the blade tang, because this really doesn't do anything. I can feel it, but it doesn't do anything. I've seen several times that this is for, you're supposed to put your thumb right here. Now, first off, this is, I'm going to try not to get into this too much. This is also kind of designed as like a self-defense blade. I would probably never use a knife in self-defense. That's probably my very last-ditch effort. I mean, if I had a gun, if I didn't have a gun, no matter what it was, the knife would probably be the last thing I would reach for. Why? It's too easy to lose. It's too easy to cut yourself. Unless the other guy... I mean, I would sooner, with a guy with another knife, try and disarm him so we're both knife-less than me with another guy with a knife, me pulling out a knife. That just seems like a very bad idea. You know, and I'm no tactical expert or, you know, whatever you want to call it. But I don't think that I would ever use a knife in self-defense. I just, you know, maybe it's, I don't know. I don't know what it is, but I just don't think I would ever use it, you know. So for me, their utility, you know, it's mostly utility. So now that being said, you're probably asking, why did you buy this knife then? Because it's billed as like a tactical, you know, defensive knife. Well, a couple reasons. One, I like the compression lock. Two, got it for a good price. Again, I'm a sucker for a good deal. And, you know, there's a lot of hype about this knife. People really like it. So, you know what? I said, I'll give it a try. And you know what? I think for utility, I think it's really good. The handle, okay, this thumb ramp, now while being said it's supposed to be able to good for being, you know, slash cuts, is also good for steadying your hand when you're doing, you know, cutting boxes and things like that. Especially since the blade stock is so thick, you can actually get a good purchase here and actually put some force into it while you're cutting. Now, being a Wharncliffe, it actually is very good for utility. You know, you can put the point right on what you want to put it on, and you can cut. I do most of the cutting with the tips anyway, unless I'm cutting fiber, if I'm cutting rope or something like that. If I'm cutting something open, you know, usually it's tip work. So having a Wharncliffe blade actually works really well. And even being a hollow ground Wharncliffe, now immediately the words hollow ground Wharncliffe kind of bring up nightmares of tips breaking, reference the leak. This is actually fairly thick. For being a Wharncliffe, it's pretty thick. I mean, a hollow ground Wharncliffe, I mean, that's commendable, to be honest with you, how thick that is. Now, where it's not thick is the actual tip. See that little gleam there? Now, that's inherent, because once you grind this down to nothing, you know, technically speaking, you're grinding to infinity. A very, very, very tip is fragile. But even if you were to break that off, it's still usable tip. I mean, you could break I'm talking the very, very end, like right there, off, it would still be a usable tip. So I've got a beefy utility knife design with decent ergonomics. I don't know. To be honest, I'm not super, super excited. I don't think it's all that really hyped up to me. I don't really think I agree with all the hype. I think it is a good knife. It's a cool knife. It's one that you pull out and people are kind of like, hey man, that's pretty neat. I like compression locks. I like S30V. Sorry if I didn't mention that this is S30V. Made in USA. Good old US. So it's a decent knife, and I got it for a really good price. So I'm happy with it overall. It's probably going to find its way out of my collection at some point, simply because that's how I roll. If I don't really like something, I'll probably tend to throw it out there. If I find something I like, I'll probably throw it out there for a trade. And again, that's just the way I roll. So not that much really to say about it. Oh, one thing I do want to say, and this is a big thing for me, and I can't believe I almost missed this: carrying the knife, carrying it. Oh man. Okay. First off, it's huge. Okay, width-wise, it's actually pretty thin. For being as thick as the blade is, it's pretty thin. It's wide though. It's really wide. And Spydercos are always wide, but this big hump right here, I mean, it's got two major like bulbous humps here. When you put it in your pocket, look how far away this point is from the actual clip. Okay, so that means if I put it in my pocket and try and butt it up against the side of my jeans, I am almost a full inch away from I feel like it's a full inch away from my pocket. So this is more sitting in the middle. Kind of how the Manix 2 carries, but this is worse. The Manix 2 is doable. This is worse. I don't carry this in my front pocket. In fact, I haven't really carried it much at all since I got it. If anything, I carry it in my back left pocket, face with the end butted up here. That's because it is still fairly thin, and I can sit down and I don't really notice it. But overall, I haven't really carried it much because it's kind of annoying. It's also pretty menacing looking, and I don't know. I'm just not super excited about it. Is it a good knife? Yes. Is it everything that it was designed to be? Yes. Is it smooth? Yes. Is it lock up great? Yes. Does it use premium materials? Yes. Is it a great price point? In my opinion, yes. It's everything that it should be. For me, I just am not super excited about it, to be honest with you. I like it. I do like it. Don't get me wrong. But I can already tell that I'm probably going to eventually trade it off for something else. Maybe even just a para too. I like the paramilitary better, to be honest with you. I don't think you lose anything with that. And I mean, the Wharncliffe is cool, but I don't know. I don't know. Sorry to seem like I'm not that excited about it, but I'm not that excited about it, to be honest with you. Again, I like it, just not all that much. So, if I left anything out, feel free to comment. You know, I'm always here, 24/7, 365. You know, all that jazz. So if you have a question, throw it down there. And if you guys aren't a member of Blade Forums, please become a member. Very invaluable resource to the knife community. You know, definitely need to get on there. I mean, you get a ton of information about current knives, upcoming knives, modifications, sharpening, customs. I mean, just anything you're into. Folding knives, fixed blades. There's different communities for different types of knives. I mean, you really need to get on. If you're not on, please do. That's all I really have for right now. Thanks, guys, for watching. You guys have a good night.